This video is brought to you by Sailrite. Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions. The leech and foot of this sail need to be recut because of excessive edge fluttering. We will show how to cut the appropriate shape to those sides in another video. In this video, we will show how to properly reinstall the corner ring with Dyneema webbing, since it has to be removed when the sides are cut to the appropriate shape. In another video, the sides have been recut and the edge tapes reinstalled. Watch that video for more on how that's done. Since the clew corner ring had to be cut off, it needs to be reinstalled. We will use Dyneema webbing to accomplish this task. Dyneema webbing is easy to use, especially for large boat applications because it's very strong and thin. So it's easy to get it sewn with the sewing machine, since the thickness at the corner can be excessive due to the multiple layers of fabric that are used for reinforcing at the corner. The webbing should be cut with a Hotknife to prevent the unraveling. The D-ring, this one is a D-ring with a bar, should roughly be positioned to bisect the sail's luff edge, as seen in the illustration. Once the ring's in the appropriate position, draw a line across it with a pencil.
And then I'm going to cut this edge off with the Hotknife.
The sailcloth typically does not unravel, but when installing corner rings like this, we typically use the Hotknife to help seal that edge because the edge typically sees a lot of use.
Okay, I'm going to mark the center of these two pieces of webbing.
We'll be using two straps that are about 18 inches when folded in half. Cindy is marking the center location.
And then apply the Seamstick to both sides of each one.
The Seamstick or double-sided tape will help hold the webbing in place as we take it to the sewing machine and sew. The webbing will be positioned on the sail's corner with the sail sandwiched in between the webbing. If possible, try to position the webbing so you don't have to sew through two layers.
I want to try to avoid laying these straps on top of each other so I don't have so much bulk to sew through.
Corner patch assemblies can be very thick.
So I'm going to position the two on the top first.
Since the center of the two long strips of webbing have been marked, we know exactly where to position it over the ring. Try to place the webbing straps in a position that distributes the load evenly at the corner. Now the webbing strap on the back side can be positioned, hopefully not directly over the opposite side's webbing. This is important for those sewing with less powerful sewing machines, otherwise it's not so important. So notice that the straps are distributed evenly at the corner and don't lie over each other much, making sewing easier, especially considering that this sail's corner patch assembly is very thick.
I'm going to use the wide zigzag on this again, and I'm going to do 4 rows of stitching on each of these, 2 on the outside and 2 on the inside.
We're using the Sailrite Ultrafeed LSZ-1 sewing machine. This is a portable, heavy-duty walking foot sewing machine. This sewing machine has a lot of power, so it can punch through the very thick corner assembly and also this webbing. One row has been sewn. Notice also that reversing was done at the beginning and the end of the stitching to lock the stitch in place. 3 more rows will be done. Dyneema webbing has superior strength without the bulk. Compare polyester and nylon webbings in the same strength factor and you'll find they are much thicker, making Dyneema webbing much easier to sew. The high strength and light weight of Dyneema webbing makes it great for corner ring assemblies, and it's more resilient to salt water, UV rays, and chemicals than polyester, nylon, or polypropylene webbings. It also does not soak up water.
Now I'm going to move over to this one and then turn it over and do the other 2 on the other side.
Since the process is the same, we'll skip ahead. To complete the corner ring assembly, we'll do some hand sewing with some polyester pre-waxed twine, a hand needle, a palm, and an awl. This is of course after we've sewn each of the legs of the webbing down to the sail with the sewing machine. We'll be using a hand sewing needle by W. Smith & Son. It's the best sailmaker's needle available. It's forged in England from cast steel and reduced edges. These needles also feature a triangular point and sharp edges to cut through the fabric. To aid with needle insertion, we use an awl and a hammer and punch holes along the outer edge of the ring. These holes are punched approximately an 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch away from each other. Then we'll use the pre-waxed twine and cut it to size, feed it through the needle's eye so it's doubled, then we'll tie a knot on the end. Using a sailmaker's adjustable palm, available from Sailrite, we will push the needle through the hole that was created with an awl to the back side of the fabric. Then we'll feed the needle through the ring and through that same side, the top surface, down through the next hole. Repeating this process all along the back side of the ring. As the needle is pushed through successive holes, we'll try to catch the tail end of the thread where we tied a knot. This helps to secure that twine and keep it coming through the hole that is originally pushed through. After each stitch, pull on the twine so it's very snug. We'll skip ahead to the end, as we'll repeat this process going the opposite direction. Once the end is reached, we will go the opposite direction, repeating this process. If you look at the bottom portion of the ring, or the bar, you'll notice small X's that are formed by the pre-waxed twine. Sewing a D-ring by hand here along the bar that's against the sail will keep that D-ring or round ring very firm. Sewing leather over this corner and also through the ring itself is an attractive option, but not required. Let's skip ahead to the end of this. When we reach the beginning point, we will turn the sail over and tuck the twine in between previous stitches, and then we'll cut it off and then use a Hotknife to create a button on the pre-waxed twine. Watch. As discussed, if you'd like to dress up this corner, you could use Sailmaker's leather, available from Sailrite, but it's not required. That's all there is to installing a sail's corner ring using webbing. Here's the materials list and tools that we use to do this sail repair and install the corner ring and webbing. Be sure to watch our videos showing how to inspect your sails for next sailing season, where Jeff Frank, Sailrite sail designer, explains how to check and repair a set of sails for the Islander 37 sailboat. For more free videos like this, be sure to check out the Sailrite website or subscribe to the Sailrite YouTube channel. It's your loyal patronage to Sailrite that makes these free videos available. I'm Eric Grant, and from all of us here at Sailrite, thanks for watching.